Time next for the business news with Stephen Carroll. Good afternoon, Stephen.
Hi,
You're starting out with the court ruling over the former boss of Renault Nissan, Carlos Ghosn.
That's right. A Dutch court has ordered Carlos Ghosn to repay almost €5 million in salary that he was paid by the Nissan Mitsubishi joint venture that's based in the Netherlands. The former CEO had taken the case himself, claiming he had been wrongly removed from his post after being arrested for financial misconduct in Japan in 2018. He was seeking €15 million in compensation. Instead, the court ruled that Ghosn didn't have valid employment with the Dutch entity, and it ordered him to repay the compensation he'd received from the joint venture for the period between April and November 2018.
Now, the wild swings in the price of Bitcoin are continuing. What's the latest?
It's been a pretty chaotic week on cryptocurrency markets. Last week, we were talking about Bitcoin being suspended as a form of payment by the electric car maker Tesla. Then we had these warnings from Chinese authorities and from the Banking Association there that its members should absolutely refrain from providing services using digital currencies because of the risks involved. You can see what happened to Bitcoin's prices there, plunging from around $50,000 to a low of around $30,000. Bitcoin today is bouncing back. According to the website CoinDesk, it's up around $40,000 and now up 2% in the last 24 hours. CoinDesk says almost $150 billion worth of Bitcoin has been traded in the past 24 hours. We're seeing similar patterns across all cryptocurrencies.
And why has the price started moving up again?
Unsurprisingly, it's got to do with Elon Musk, who tweeted that Tesla was holding on to its share of Bitcoin, that $1.5 billion that it bought a couple of months ago, using the emojis diamond and hands to illustrate holding on. It's a sign of confidence that investors in Bitcoin were apparently looking for. Price swings aren't unusual in the history of Bitcoin. It moves up and down because it is a speculative asset, which means that it only moves based on what investors think it's going to be worth. Even with this latest sell-off, though, prices are still up 300% in the past year.
Unfortunately, I don't own any, but... Next, more job cuts are on the way at Qantas.
That's right. But first, we're going to talk about the airline EasyJet, the low-cost carrier, reporting losses worth €637 million for the 6 months to the end of March. Passenger numbers for the period down by 90%, I should say. EasyJet says it will only be flying 15% of its capacity until the end of June. But as the UK slowly opens international travel, the airline says it will be able to ramp that up to 90% over the summer if there is demand. Now, Delano, you mentioned the airline Qantas there as well. Qantas announcing more job cuts in response to the slump in travel over the coronavirus. Hundreds of international crew are going to be offered voluntary redundancies in a plan that was announced in a letter to shareholders. Qantas says it's expecting annual losses of more than 2 billion Australian dollars, or around 1.3 billion euros. The airline's boss saying that domestic travel is beginning to return to pre-COVID levels. The company has been hard hit by the Australian government's border closures, which dramatically reduced international air travel. Well, let's take a look at what's happening on the stock markets next for you here this lunchtime. EasyJet shares down 1.5% in London after those latest results. Gains, though, across the rest of the European markets. We're just looking at London, Paris and Frankfurt there, all seeing gains.
Next, to a major figure, to a figure in the Chinese tech industry who's leaving his job.
Yes, that's right. We're going to get to casinos in a moment. Don't be confused if you just heard that. But we are going to be talking about the founder of ByteDance, the company behind the app TikTok, who's stepping down as CEO at the end of this year. Zhang Yiming's departure is the latest in a string of tech industry changes in China. This, as Beijing's regulators have been putting increasing pressure on the sector. Zhang will remain at ByteDance to work on what he says are long-term initiatives. The news coming as the company is reported to be preparing to launch its shares on the stock market. Well, back here in France for our next story. Of course, among the businesses that have been reopening this week have been casinos. It's a €2 billion industry in France, and most importantly, a key source of local tax revenue for towns around the country. Casinos have been coming up with new ways of drawing in COVID-conscious gamblers. Solange Moujon has the story.
Bonjour.
A drive-in casino. It's an idea fit for Las Vegas that's become a reality in the Mediterranean resort of La Grande Motte. The town's casino is now offering private tents for players. equipped with a parking spot and a slew of slot machines. There's even a personal minibar.
Le déclic pour le choix de ce Casino Drive a été en fait l'affluence dans le casino normal.
On peut aller dehors, on n'est pas obligé d'avoir le masque, de vraiment rester entre nous et pouvoir en profiter, quoi.
Across the country in Brittany, there's no drive-in, but Dinars Casino has also rolled out its own safety measures. Gamblers must wear masks. The layout's been changed, with plexiglass partitions installed. Precautions that have allowed the casino to reopen at 35% capacity. The staff are back too, hoping to cash in on their peak season.
Nos mois les plus forts, c'est mai, juin, juillet, août. Septembre, c'est un très beau mois, évidemment. Après, c'est beaucoup plus calme quand même. Donc là, on ampute déjà de beaucoup nos perspectives d'avenir.
The casino's earnings are also being closely watched by the town hall. Taxes on it makes up 8% of Dinar's revenue.
Quand vous voyez les besoins qu'a une cité touristique et balnéaire comme Dinard, c'est une contribution, j'allais dire, fondamentale.
The casino industry is worth over 2 billion euros in France. Some 200 of them were shut down by COVID-19 restrictions last October. Now open again and with a capacity set to increase to 50% in June, many casino owners are hoping for richer days ahead.
And finally, from you, Stephen, the UK arm of Gwyneth Paltrow's brand Goop is in trouble with regulators. What have they done?
That's right. So the wellness company was originally set up in Britain but moved its headquarters to the United States in 2014. Now, the British branch has been pretty much dormant since 2017, but it's been threatened with being shut down after failing to file its accounts with the company's regulator in Britain. Now, it has got an extension to submit them, but if it doesn't, the firm will be struck off the register in the UK and its property transferred to the Crown, although it's not clear exactly what property is attached to the UK arm of the business. Globally, the brand is reportedly worth around 220 million euros, but has been criticised for some of its wellness tips and therapies.
Why have they been criticised? You're not going to tell me, are you?
No, I'm not.
Stephen, thank you very much for that. Stephen Carroll there with the business.